Hello, how you doing? So, um,
So I just want to do this because I go to therapy. And man, when you have a really good therapist and you working through stuff, your therapist, they'll ask you some good questions. This is a mole, by the way, because it won't come off. That's definitely a mole. Anyway, I got freckles and moles everywhere. I just got distracted. Okay, I have a therapist, and I am working on acknowledging how far I've come. And at the beginning of this video, when I started online teaching about service animals, I want you to know that I was in a homeless shelter. I was in a homeless shelter and I was in a private room with my service dog, but that was not the first time. That was, ooh, child. Let me see, because I went to the shelter once, and then I had an apartment that got caught on fire. I lived in my car, and then I lived at some people's houses. I went to emergency winter shelter. Then I went to another shelter in another state, and I ended up coming back. Anyway, that was the second time I was at the shelter, at that particular shelter. And y'all, I mean, I'm so proud of myself. And now I have an LLC. I have a mission and a message. I have a developing business plan. I do have an apartment right now. I have food. I'm not able to work a regular job due to my disabilities, but I own a business and I'm making a difference, even if that difference isn't realized today by everyone yet. I know I'm making a difference and I aim to make a difference. But I would say this, I'm already making a difference because I have been making a difference in my own life. And by the grace and the glory of God, I am where I am today. Another thing is, earlier this year, I won a grant for my business. And it was close to $10,000. And that's how I was able to pay myself some things, develop more courses and systems to try to help myself. I have applied to maybe, let me see, 3 or 4 grants this year, and I only got one, but that's okay. I plan on applying for more and more grants. I'm just so proud of myself. But another thing I wanted to do is I like to encourage people who have disabilities not to give up, to know that you have a purpose in this world. Now, I believe in Christ. I believe in God. I believe that we were created for a purpose because in the Bible it says that He knew us before we were before we were in our mother's womb, and He has a purpose and a plan for our lives to prosper us and to do us good and not to harm us. So whether you believe in Christ or not, or you believe in God, you still have a purpose. And I encourage you not to give up. You may be in a place, a low place. You may be homeless. You may be living with people. You may be having very terrible medical experiences. You may be having chemo done right now. You may be having dialysis treatments. You may have to have surgery. You may be in a chronic flare up or a fibro flare up. You may have invisible disabilities. You may have an amputated leg. You may be in recovery. You may be in physical therapy. I don't know what, but what I do know is that you're not going to die there. Keep getting up. Get up. Get up, get up, get up. I remember when I was at that shelter, I've experienced pain past the 10. And even when I was in so much pain, I made these videos. And I used to cry. And I was in so much pain, I used to cry. And I used to talk to God and I said, I can't die here. I used to be like, I said, you know what? I know I'm going to die one day. But I said, I cannot die here at this lowly place, in the shelter, in homelessness. I said, I can't die here. And I'm not going to die here. And what I began to focus on when I became disabled, because I was not born with this disability. I was born with some disabilities, but not a physical one to like, I was still able to work at that time. But before I had a TBI, and now I have fibromyalgia and stuff like that. But before all of this happened, I was probably moving around too much, but yeah, I was doing the best that I could and everything like that. But afterwards, it really changed my life. It changed my perspective, and I began to give up. Y'all, I was so depressed, and I had to learn to live in a new way. I had to learn to believe in myself a new way. And I had a brain injury, and I used to be so very much more articulate that I believe that I am now. My memory was better because I was an actress. I have a degree in theater and acting. And I used to be on stage and all of that, and singing and performing and poems. And one day I'm sure I'll get back into it, but this is my thing. I said to myself, I'm going to do something. I'm going to change my life. I started reading books. I started kids' books. I started learning new languages. And I said, well, if I can't physically do it, if I don't have the endurance or the ability to physically do it because of my invisible disability, I said I was going to use my voice. And I said I was going to collaborate with God to restore my mind. And I'm going to use my mind to support me. Now, I am not there yet, but I'm on my way. And I want to tell you that this is just a journey. This is a part of your journey, but this is not the end of your book. This is not the end of your story, my friend. Get up and keep going, because you have a purpose. And as difficult as it is, sometimes when you're having these moments, you have to take a second to not reflect on what you're going through and start reflecting on what you're learning and what this moment can teach you. And go from there. And what can you do to make yourself your best self as you can? And take baby steps. Baby steps. I just told you about all the homeless shelters I've been through and been to. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here and celebrate myself and encourage you to make sure that you celebrate yourself and the milestones that you have been through. Congratulate yourself. And if you're in a dark, low place, get up, because this is not the end for you, right? I love you. It's Lunchroom News K, and I teach businesses about service animals and how to interact with them and be ADA compliant. And I also teach the public service animal etiquette and education. I will see you later. Have a wonderfully blessed day. Ciao.